Hello y'all, and welcome to another reading wrap-up video. I seriously cannot believe that we have basically exactly a month left of 2024. Like, that makes absolutely no sense to me, but let's get straight on into it. I read a total of 8 books this month, which consisted of 2 memoirs, 2 thrillers, and 4 romances. I also did start 2 more series, so hopefully next month I get to actually finishing some of these series and not starting anymore. But we all know that I probably will be starting more series. Starting off with the first book that I read this month, I read The Friend Zone by Abby Jimenez. I read the Part of Your World trilogy, and I figured I'd go back and start with this trilogy as well. I wound up rating it a 4.5 stars. Overall, I really did enjoy this book. I will say that the one thing that I did not enjoy was a certain trope, I suppose that you could say. That was mentally cheating, not for me. Everything else though, I really enjoyed. We follow Kristen and Josh. Why is it always a Josh? I feel like there's always a Josh. But personally, I feel like this was a little bit more than a romance book. Like many of our other books are, there's always some sort of other conflict or just so many other things going on that contribute to the plot. And I related to Kristen a whole lot in this book with certain issues that she deals with. Maybe not to the extent that she dealt with them in this book, but I am certainly going through a lot of those things as well, so that really hit home for me. And overall, I feel like The Friend Zone is a very appropriate title for this book. I enjoyed it, and I'm definitely looking forward to the second book. And then, this series. I've had this on my shelf for majority of this year, and I just felt like it was time for a college hockey romance. I mean, it's been a minute. And I finally got acquainted with the one and only Gerrit Graham. I read The Deal by Elle Kennedy, and let's just not look at the covers, okay? We're not gonna look at the covers. I do have the old covers for this series, so we're just gonna show it off like this. And honestly, I went into this with very low expectations. Didn't really think that I was going to enjoy it. Basically, in this book, we follow Hannah and Gerrit is just trying to convince Hannah to make a deal with them to help him pass a class that she is flying through. I was kicking my feet and giggling and laughing and eating up this book. Now, I will say, check trigger warnings and know that this book is not for everyone because it has a very high spice level. This entire series does. Surprisingly, I rated it a 4 stars. I really did enjoy it. The covers though, the covers just get me. Continuing on the series, this cover is a little bit better, but I read The Mistake, also by Elle Kennedy, second book in the off-campus. It's not a trilogy, it has 5 books in it. I don't know what that's called. I absolutely flew through this book. I did rate it a 3.25 stars. So definitely did not enjoy this one nearly as much as I enjoyed The Deal, but I enjoyed the backstory of Logan. Forgot his name there for a second. And like the different steps that we had to take to unravel the plot. Also, something that I absolutely love about this entire series so far is seeing, in particular, guys in this case, having their egos get crushed down to the floor and stomped on, and I just find that to be so enjoyable to read about. Why? I don't know. My camera battery is flashing. 1 second. Okay, I apologize if the camera angle changed. Hopefully it didn't change too much. But lastly, for the romance category, I read another one of the off-campus books, which is The Score. Okay, say it with me now. What does SMUT spell? The Score. That's what it spells. Definitely my least favorite out of this series. I still gave it a 3 stars. I flew through this entire series, especially this book. I don't know, it was just all right to me, and I feel like after reading the last 2, maybe I just got a little bit bored of having like kind of the same plot. However, I will say the ending bit of this book really got me, made me sad in one case, if you know what I mean. But I gotta say, now I'm really intrigued to read The Goal because of the very last page in this book set up that book absolutely perfectly, and I was not expecting it. I didn't even say what this book was about. This book is about Allie. She goes through a really difficult breakup, and she's a relationship girly. She doesn't want to hook up, she doesn't want a one-night stand, and she winds up having that with Dean. Dean is your ultimate F-boy. He's one of those guys you just want to go to. Yeah. that's him. Until he meets Allie. Of course, she's the one who changes his mind about so many things in life. And I really did enjoy the subplot in this one though, where he coaches this middle school team. I think it's middle school. Not entirely sure. I think it's a middle school team. And I thought it was so sweet. And I love Dakota. He was so cute. Okay, next up I'm gonna do the 2 memoirs that I read, or rather listened to. I listened to them both on audiobooks, and I also do not rate my memoirs just because I don't want to give a rating on other people's life experiences. So the first one was If You Ask Me, and Of Course You Won't by Betty White. I was heartbroken to hear that she passed away last year, I believe it was. I am obsessed with her and just her movies and her life story. And the audiobook was only about 3 hours long, but I feel like I gained like so much of her life through those 3 hours. Highly recommend this audiobook to anyone. She's just so witty and funny, and the spunk and just mentality that she has about life was just so inspiring. I loved hearing about her different stories and how much of an animal lover she was and forever will be. Oh, it makes me sad just thinking about it, but I highly recommend her audiobook. And then the second audiobook I listened to was Beyond the Wand, The Magic and Mayhem of Growing Up a Wizard by Tom Felton. Tom Felton played Draco Malfoy in the Harry Potter series, and my boyfriend and I just basically binged the entire series this fall. I have never watched the entire series, and now I am basically obsessed with it. So I figured it was only fitting to listen to his audiobook, but honestly, I thought his audiobook was very different from a lot of the other actors and actresses' audiobooks that I've listened to before, because in his case, he was brought up in a very like loving and encouraging family, and obviously he didn't play that in the Harry Potter series. And I thought it was also really funny because when he was casted for the role as Draco, he didn't know like anything about Harry Potter. He'd never read the books. He didn't even know really what he was auditioning for when he did. He just kind of went for it, and it completely worked out in his favor. But I also enjoyed how deep his book got, because even though he is still so young, he's been through a lot of different life experiences, some definitely better than others. But I thought it was really interesting to hear his perspective on being Draco and how it didn't affect his life really hardly at all, but it also kind of did. Also, for how big of a character Draco Malfoy is in the Harry Potter series, he only has about like 32 minutes of airtime in the entire 8 movies. That I find very, very interesting. If you're a Harry Potter fan, I definitely recommend. It was very fun to listen to. Alrighty, and then lastly on to thrillers. I read one and I listened to one. This first one has been on my list since forever, and I'm so glad I finally read it. And hear me out before you judge. I read Verity by Colleen Hoover. If you don't want to hear anything about Colleen Hoover or you don't care for her, fine, but skip to this time. So I did not have a Colleen Hoover phase when everyone else did, so this is one of my last books by her. But I wanted to read it because it was a thriller and not her typical romance. It's basically about this husband and wife, and the wife, Verity, gets into a situation where she cannot finish writing the series that she started. So this little bit smaller author, Lowen, still can't figure out how to pronounce her name. She comes in to try and get any information about how to continue on the series, what to write about, and she starts noticing all of these really weird, suspicious things happening and starts to investigate some of them herself, but also tries to get some information from her husband, Germany. She winds up finding this manuscript that, long story short, is just so messed up, and by the end of the book, the plot twist that is revealed really got me. And to be honest, I still don't have a rating for this book. I have no idea what to rate it, because I feel like I really actually enjoyed it, but I'm like, I have no idea how to rate it, what to rate it, I don't know. Still very confused on this one, but yeah. The cover definitely makes a lot more sense now too. And the last book that I read in November was His and Hers by Alice Feeney. I'm on the Alice Feeney train. I've read, I think, 3 books by her now, and honestly, I can never guess her plot twist, ever. I can never get it. I did rate this one a 3.5 stars. It was definitely my least favorite one by her. Still really good though, like I said, like whoever the murderer is, or I don't know, I guess just the murderer. I don't know how else to place them, or like main antagonists, I suppose. I can never ever guess who they are or like how everything connects. But I'll just read the description from the back of the book. There are two sides to every story, yours and mine, ours and theirs, his and hers, which means someone is always lying. When a woman is murdered in Blacktown, a quintessentially British village, newsreader Anna Andrews is reluctant to cover the case. Detective Jack Harper is suspicious of her involvement until he becomes a suspect of his own murder investigation. Someone isn't telling the truth, and some secrets are worth killing to keep. The one thing that I really did not enjoy about the book, which might just be a personal thing, is one of the topics that's discussed in the book. Definitely check the trigger warnings before diving into this one. Some of it made me a little bit uncomfy, I must say. But overall, I definitely will be picking up another Alice Feeney book in the future. I love her overall writing style, and I also love the audiobook readers. This one was the same as Good Bad Girl. So those were the 8 books that I read in the month of November. I'm just now realizing I didn't even have a 5-star read in November. I'm hoping that I will in December. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm definitely planning on doing more reading vlogs and also maybe some Christmassy bookish themed videos coming soon. So definitely like and subscribe if you're looking forward to those. I hope you guys have an amazing holiday season, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye guys.